This is Fins TV, a Miami Dolphins-inspired podcast. It's fueled by the power of positivity.
Welcome to Fins TV. I'm Fins Sammy, aka Fins Post Next. I'm with my co-host Steve Hallis. Steve, welcome to the Christmas edition of Fins TV.
It is a holiday edition of Fins TV on a Victory Monday. You know, one of my favorite shirts to wear all the time. My wife wore it today. I still had to work and be on camera some, so I couldn't wear it. But that Victory Monday shirt, it's a great thing to be able to pull that out. And earlier this week than usual, we were usually out here seeing everybody on Tuesdays, but it's Monday because it is Christmas week. Hanukkah also starts on Wednesday for those observing that. So, but looking forward to chatting it up with the usual crew here and just having a good time talking some Dolphins.
Yeah, it feels like something is missing, Steve. We're not Christmassy enough. So let me see if I can do something like that. Right?
What can you do for me, man?
Let me see if we can.
Cap, Kosa. Good to say. Ooh.
Yeah, that would have a little.
I like it. The little triangle chimes in the background, even. You're so magical, Sammy.
Yes, of course. It's a Merry Christmas. And talking about Christmas, on this episode, we're going to talk about how Mr. Grier stole Christmas. We should be celebrating probably to be in the middle of the playoff hunt, but, because of backup structure of the team, we're hanging by a thread of 4%. So we'll see what happens about that. Also, this week, in this episode, we're going to talk about the Browns. The Browns, probably one of my favorite players ever that hasn't played for the Dolphins. Myles Garrett is a he's a monster. I wish he was with the Dolphins, but we're going to talk a little about that. And on this episode, we're going to play some Secret Santa. We're going to spin the wheel, see what comes up with some Dolphins friends and some Dolphins rivals, and see what we're going to give them for our Secret Santa this week. So this year. So it's going to be a jam-packed show, but we're going to try to make it fly by. And thank you for everybody who's joining us. Please share the feed. Go like, subscribe on YouTube and on X. So, well, yesterday was a pretty interesting game. The Dolphins basically covered all phases of the game, so Dolphins got a win. So let's go straight to the 49 highlights.
This is how they've won some of their games.
2nd and 17. And look at the Dolphins get to him. Brooks, the first one there. Jordan Brooks.
Make up for a lot of mistakes.
1st and 10 after an 11-yard pass play to Achane. Connects. And another good gain for the Dolphins. So here's Jason Sanders with a 44-yard attempt. And Sanders' boot is true. So Miami puts up the first points in this game. Out west in the Super Bowl. 2nd and 1, starting the second quarter. Purdy still has it. He falls. What a play by Sealer, who's been on a run here late in the year.
You didn't know if he was playing running back, receiver, and then his ability to finish like a running back, like you saw there, that's what can separate him when he's playing at his best.
Moody is going to be returned by Washington. Counts the 20 to the 30 to the 31-yard line. Come back out of that. Pass wide open. Tyreek has it this time. And he wants some redemption. And he's down to the 44 of the Niners. 48. Pitches it quickly to Mostert. There again to dominate the line. Mostert is moving down to the 27. Running behind Durham Smythe for a 20-yard carry. Very attractive matchup out there in Seattle. Thank you. As that pass down to the 7-yard line to Malik Washington.
They're not great on offense, not going to give us the red zone. That's how you can lose.
3rd and goal. Tua throws. Caught. It's a touchdown. Tyreek hauls it in. Hill with the catch from 3 yards out. 3rd and goal. Purdy looks, throws. Oh, he missed him that time. Kittle was open. Ball was deflected. Actually, this is 54. And Sanders showing off that leg. Puts another 3 on the board. His 3rd make of the day. Here's the field goal attempt from 48 yards for a 5-point lead. Sanders, what a game he's had. Good again.
Quick screen outside the Debo, getting hands on Kittle.
Purdy throws downfield, and he's intercepted. Picked off. Coho has it. All set up because of the pressure by Calais Campbell. Campbell forced the bad throw, and Cater Coho has the takeaway.
From an injury perspective, to really every
First and 10. Another big run. There he goes. He's got wide open space. A-Chan with an A-plus effort and a touchdown by Miami. 50 yards to all but put the game away. 59 seconds to go, and being chased, able to fake out the defender just so long.
You can't do that.
That's it.
You got to throw that away right there. Looked like Tarkin did for a little bit until he
Look at the chop.
threw it away.
The chop from Chop Robinson.
Well, again, Steve, that's the kind of game we were expecting the whole season. Even though Water didn't play and the Dolphins could have won by more if some throws by Tyreek Hill and other stuff could have happened. And Holland gets an interception, that's a pick six, but the Dolphins basically play well on all facets of the game and get a big win, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, all three phases did step up. I'll always take a win. I know last week, in many times throughout the season following losses, you have a feeling of really, I mean, we're pissed off. We're upset because the team is underperforming from what we really wanted them to do, what we expected them to do, what many in the league expected them to do. So this win was very nice. I'm happy for the fans that were in attendance for the last home game of the season to be able to see the team pull something out like that and to see Jason Sanders step up. The guy, other than missing a couple point afters this year, he has had an incredible season this year. So that's been great. Chop Robinson, man, welcome to the league. Ever since he became a starter and he really got an opportunity, he's been relentless. Very rarely does an edge, Micah Parsons, linebacker edge, come into the league and really have an impact the way that somebody like he does. Chop Robinson has been fast off the ball, relentless in pursuit. He was credited with one tackle during this game, but he was all over the field, and his hand was the one that stopped Kittle from getting that touchdown down in the red zone. So if his hand isn't there, then, frankly, who knows what's going to happen. So huge credit to the defense for being able to put the brakes on it and stop, what could have been a much worse game. The flip side of what you said, that we could have won by more, yes. Zach Sealer, I won't even call him underrated because, and it's funny, I saw his wife tweet out several weeks ago, how long are we going to call this guy underrated? I think Josh Houts had tweeted something out about it, and she retweeted it and said something like that. Well, you've got Calais Campbell out there saying if this guy doesn't make the Pro Bowl, then it's an absolute crime. I agree, but I want to take it a step further and say that he should be an all-pro consideration for what he's been able to do this year. And huge kudos to him for getting his payday and not, taking a year off and not doing, the guy's gone from a walk-on at a D2 school to what he is now, and huge credit to what he's been able to do. Absolutely incredible. But it was a very good game, great outcome. Again, from those of us who can't be in attendance, had a house full of people celebrating, the last home game of the season. Everything had food. It was a good experience for everybody involved if you're a Dolphins fan.
Absolutely. If I'm not mistaken, Cosa Nostra State, he was going to the game. Hopefully he was there. If I'm not mistaken, he was going to go to the game. I didn't expect the Dolphins to win that game, but they play well on fast of the game. Jason Sanders, we criticized him so much last year. He's being huge this year. Hopefully he keeps going like that. And, of course, Chop Robinson, our friend Eddie Chappett, was huge of Chop Robinson coming out of Penn State. And he was right on that. Once he finds a way to have a power move, pass rushing moves, and to his arsenal, that speed reminds me so much of Can't Wait, that burst up like a cannon to the quarterback. So he's going to be a huge player. And of course, it seems like the Dolphins have been looking all season for Devon Achane to break that run. And they finally happened yesterday. So
we've been waiting all season long for a sniff of what last year's offense was, and Achane, he got it. I mean, I think somebody said it. maybe Jason Sarney. He's been throwing out tons of stat bombs on the social medias in the past, 24 hours. But, I think he's the first player since 2022, Christian McCaffrey, to go 120 yards on the ground and 70 in the air. He's all over the place, and it's great. It's hopefully he stays healthy, through the last couple games here, and can build on that into next year, because now over the course of what we saw last year and what we continue to see this year is an electrifying player with the ball in his hands. And they said in the offseason a lot, hey, we're going to see him in the wide receiver position a lot. We are seeing a lot of that.
Absolutely. Well, without further ado, let's welcome the FinCV group for this Christmas special of Shari and Bill Gates. I mean Steve Jobs. Man and Storm, Mr. Perfect. Good evening, guys. I'm gonna say Shari. Shari, we've been waiting for this kind of game for the whole season. The Dolphins play well all facets of the game. The offense will play very good. The defense, when it needed, find a way to stop the 49ers, and the special teams didn't crap on it. So it was an all facets of the game kind of game, Shari.
What's funny is while I was watching it, it didn't feel like an all facets of the game kind of game. It was an odd game in terms of that, because the outcome was exactly what we want. And we saw the plays that everyone said we've been lacking. When I saw Achane take that reception down in the field in the middle of the field, I was like, why? What is he doing out there? I don't understand. Just because we haven't really been seeing it a lot. They said that we were going to. It hasn't been a lot. We've seen it some. But to see him break that run, and Jason Sanders, 5 of 5, 54-yard long, making both extra points. You can't say enough about him, because, yes, it was a game we've been waiting for, but we didn't run away with it. And without his 5 field goals, it's not the same game. So I'm very pleased with special teams for the most part. I saw a couple of hiccups here and there, but what do you expect from a team that has 9 wins, or 2, sometimes it feels like, but you don't expect to see the full game. But so it was nice. I did have some people in my house at first aggravated, like, where are we winning? We're ruining the draft pick. I won't say who, but he might be right up there right now somewhere. There he is.
It's Christmas time.
Really?
You're tanking.
And my answer to that is, if you have a shred of hope for playoffs, you just don't tank. I don't like tanking anyway, but when you're still mathematically alive for the playoffs, there's no way you take an L on purpose. So, Matt, what do you have to say to my husband?
Nothing. We're in a fight. I have nothing to say. Really, Steve? Draft picks? Listen, 2 weeks ago, I'm going to call him out right now. Cosa Nostra said, so now that the season's over, what does everybody think? And it got by everybody because it was right at the end of the show. And yesterday, all they kept harping on was still alive, still alive. I don't care.
Yes.
4%. It's mathematically still alive. And we're talking about draft picks. Come on, man. Jason Sanders hasn't had a bad season since 2022. And why that dude keeps getting grief on this show baffles me.
I'm not saying anything bad about Jason.
I know you're not. But when we say things like, wow, he came through. When didn't he come through in the last 2 years? He stepped up yesterday, 5 for 5, which when you just said it, I was like, damn, he really did go 5 for 5, right? He had a hiccup on an extra point. I think it was last week, and it was.
We kept changing that point of the whole game, and you know what happened.
Right. So I could keep going here, but playoffs are still on the table, and there's someone close to me talking about the draft. Maybe he's behind. Yeah, look over your shoulder. I see you.
Do you?
Over your shoulder, man. Maybe it's behind you.
Him?
That's it.
Him.
Yeah, him. Maybe that's the guy.
Him.
Yes. We're in a fight now.
Deal with it. No, but seriously, outstanding game in a lot of fronts. I'm going to change the topic. Trust me, we're going to have plenty of time when we got to talk about draft in a couple weeks here, Matt.
Yes.
But I give a lot of credit to the team for realizing that the offense, they weren't moving it, and finally seeing Isaiah Wynn come in and Eichenberg be shown the bench. Maybe it's fresh legs. Maybe it's just a fresh person out there that the defense didn't plan for. But, I mean, a guard is a guard is a guard in terms of what they're going to be doing out there on the field. It's just they're not interchangeable in terms of how they can execute what it is that they have to do. Isaiah Wynn flashed when he had the opportunity. I think somebody posted out there that he had 51% of the snaps, and that helped open up the run game. A good, the bad, the ugly here, just to kind of go through a few things in terms of what we had. First of all, again, Isaiah Wynn came in. Hopefully he can stay healthy. I know that that's been one of the challenges, but very, very bright spot. Devon Achane, good God. Very, very, very impressive again. And I will give credit here as part of the good, to McDaniel for sticking with the run. Stick with the run. Jeff Wilson Jr. had a key pickup on 3rd and short. Mostert got the ball. Achane got fed over and over and over, and it forced the defense to play a little bit differently, which helped a lot in the long run of clearly, because Achane busted that big one to put himself up to 120 yards on the ground. The bad side of this, I mean, I'm going to be fair about everything here, Mr. Armstrong. Tua, it seems like he's lost some of the velocity now. I don't know if it's because it's late in the season, his arm's tired. I really hope not. I mean, he's 26 years old and he's paid to do this, but I think maybe it has something more to do with he's not putting his hips behind the passes. But there were a couple that were floating a little bit there that you really don't want to see happen that often, because good teams make him pay. The Texans made him pay last week, but he had a money drop on that fade ball. I think it was the best fade pass that he's thrown since week 1 of 2023 in Los Angeles against the Chargers. And, I know that the ball was tipped, but good God, Tyreek, what is going on, man? Which is going to lead me to my ugly. Tyreek Hill. I don't know what's happened this year. Maybe it's the fact that he finally got, he's the number 1 paid wide receiver, $32 million. But I'm seeing way too much of of information out there, and where there's smoke in sports and high profile people people are just hating or something like that. There is a lot of smoke, and I'm starting to see flames around him. And he even said it himself that he is not putting in the effort during the week. He is not dedicating himself to the craft to the tune of what you would expect the number 1 paid wide receiver in the league to do. Jim Nantz should not be saying in the middle of a broadcast that the number 1 wide receiver on the team and highest paid in the league has a redemption catch across the middle. You shouldn't need a redemption catch. You should be leading the team out there, catching those balls when they're spoon-fed to you, and catching those ones that are tipped, or not having it ripped out of your hands when it's a game-ending interception against Houston. Those are just some things that really shouldn't be happening. And the last thing, I'll stop. And then I want to go on something else that's just kind of...
I want to say one thing before we move forward, because over the last few weeks, we've had the same type of a discussion, especially when we've lost, where we say the good teams find a way to win, even when those bad things are happening. And we finally saw the Dolphins do that this week. So we finally saw Kansas City. Trust me, nobody come at me. I'm not saying we're Kansas City, but what I'm saying is we have been lamenting that we can't consider ourselves a good team until we start winning the games we aren't doing so hot in, that we come back from our mistakes, that we find a way to win. I didn't see this game as an overwhelming, thank goodness the Dolphins are back win, but I certainly saw it going in the right direction, on the right track, and being able to look back at that game and saying, finally, yes, we had Tyreek Hill dropping passes left and right. Tua was off as well, like Steve, like you just said. He didn't look like he was on, and that's going to happen. The difference between this week and weeks past is that this week they were off and the rest of the team stepped up and we did what we had to do and came out with a W. And that's a good thing. That's a positive, and that's what I'm going to take into this holiday week. Is it was nice to see us not fold like a house of cards, and for the people to step up around Tyreek and Achane over the middle. I mean, he was laid out. My sister likes to scream that Tua's trying to get his receivers killed every time he throws the ball. They're still going up. They're still coming down with it, and they did. They put themselves out there, and I was very happy with that.
Matt?
I think Shari said everything that I could have said. The thing that really midway through the fourth quarter kind of stuck with me was, hey, we're winning this thing. We're doing what we're supposed to do. We're, I've used the term in the past, and I know Steve has as well. We've got our foot on their throat. The HN run at the very end was the backbreaker, but there was a whole lot more good than bad. Something's not right with number 10. I don't know what it is. I'm not in that facility. I don't know, and nobody else does either. I know he said something to the effect of he's taking advantage of veterans' days off, and he shouldn't do that because it's ruining his timing with his QB, and maybe that's all it is. I don't know, but when you're getting paid, $30 million a year, whatever the number is, you make those catches down there in the end zone. You whatever you do, not only do you make those catches, but you make an attempt so that the ref thinks that you got interfered with, that everything is on your side. If there's any question as to whether you had a chance at it, when they showed the replay and the ball went right through his hands, it's mortifying because you are the highest paid receiver, and you've had a mouth for as long as I've been aware of you. So at some point, shut up and back it up, or hopefully they'll move him for something else because they won yesterday in spite of number 10.
That's a fact.
Absolutely.
That's a fact. And that pass that you're talking about in the end zone, when I first saw it live, I thought, okay, that was a bit off. But then they showed it from the other angle, and I was like, my God.
It was
a
dead
dime.
on.
Dead
It was
on. It
dead
was
on.
perfect. I apologized to the room, to Tua,
She did.
because I said, oh my God, that's on Tua. And then I saw it again. I said, oh, no. I would like to formally apologize because that's 100% on Tyreek. And yes, you're going to have drop balls. Okay, I'm good with one or maybe two. But when it's a consistent problem, maybe don't take the veterans' days off when you are not firing on all cylinders. Show up, show out, and then you can show off.
I mean,
Absolutely.
on that point, we're week 16. Week 16 of an NFL season. Week 1 of training camp, or maybe even mini camp, is when Tyreek needs to have this epiphany. The day he signs that paycheck, the big signing bonus paycheck, is when he needs to have that epiphany that it's time for him to step up and do it. And related to that, because there's a couple things I wanted to talk about here, and I messaged it to you earlier this morning, Sammy, and they're really not going to fit into this, but it fits kind of the mold of me just being pissy grumpy about how the overall season has kind of gone here. But more of the ugly here. Coach McDaniel last week, post our show on Tuesday night, had a presser and he dropped something. And I admit, I don't watch the pressers because I just can't tolerate them anymore. But he dropped a little bit of a nugget where he said something along the lines that they're still trying to get the team to play up to the standard of what they're expected to play to.
Mm-hmm.
We're in week 16 in year 3 of his implementation and his ownership over this team. How are you still trying? And not only that, you've had a GM who's given you everything that you've wanted, everything that you've asked for to fit the mold of your quarterback, and you're still trying to get that team to fit the standard of what you're doing. And it seems just a little bit too unacceptable, or maybe it's just frustrating. I can't say what. For me personally, I don't find it acceptable. It's disappointing to hear your head coach in week 16 when you're still in a playoff hunt. Yes, Matt. To have that being the case. So it's extremely frustrating. And related to that, and I don't want to poo-poo on, hey, the owner and his president, CEO, whatever he is, standing there next to him on the sidelines, but they're celebrating like they just won a Super Bowl. You want and
Ross and McDaniel hugging and they won the Super Bowl. So.
And to your point, Sherry, yes, good teams find ways to win. I love winning. I absolutely love the feeling. It makes the rest of my day, evening go a lot better. My next day is better. Yes, Victory Mondays are fantastic. We beat a team that is not in the playoffs. We beat a team with a losing record again. So we're not a stigma breaker at this point. But Ross and it's just the standard. It's that type of thing, and the NFL has standards of what teams are going to do, and frankly, parity exists because of the salary cap and teams having opportunities to go out there and show what they can do. And unfortunately, Miami just has this air about them of a standard that is below the others. And you've got the coach and the president down on the sidelines, fist pumping and handing McDaniel a game ball. And it brought to my mindset, because there's been a lot of talk about, is Grier going to get fired? Is McDaniel going to get fired? And then you see McDaniel getting a football thrown to him on, in the locker room because he's getting a game ball handed to him for winning a home game against a team that's really underperformed this year. And, Matt, we were both in the Air Force, so you're taught from day one of standards. You need to learn the standard, then you need to live the standard, and you need to go out there and exemplify that standard in everything you do. And if you don't, you're held accountable for it. And you don't have 2-3 years of not meeting the standard to be like, okay, hey, we're going to give you another chance because you better met the minimum. There was a guy in one of my bases that, the Air Force isn't strict. It's not the Marines, but you still had to live up to certain standards. And this guy just couldn't keep his dorm room clean. The guy had pizza boxes for weeks stacked up. It was an absolute pigsty. He was getting reprimanded. And I remember showing up to guard mount one day before we were going to post out, and they gave this guy like a standing applause for finally meeting the minimum standard of not having pizza boxes stacked 5 high in his room for a few days or a couple weeks and clothes scattered all over the place. I feel like we're rewarding, or the owner who really truly matters in this situation is rewarding somebody for finally meeting a minimum standard. That is balancing your offense and winning a game against a team that you definitely should win that game against. And Rand.
If they didn't catch that on video, would you care? Like, how do we know he didn't get a game ball with one of the other wins this year? I don't care if he got a game ball yesterday. Great. He can put it on his fireplace mantle. I don't care about that. Everything you said about standards is absolutely correct. One of my first squadrons, the motto was, "We set the standard," which at the time I thought was the dumbest thing in the world. And I use it to this day in my real world life. I always thought the cool ones were night hunters. We, go to exotic places and kill people kind of mottos. That's what I thought was cool. But we set the standard was absolutely, it's today my favorite one. I agree with you in that regard. But when I look at the scenario that you're painting, I don't care that he got a football I don't care that any of them got it. It was cool to see it. I watched it this morning. I was like, oh, that's cool. I don't know what the standard is to get a football. It was the standard that you stuck to the game plan and you ran it down their fucking throat. Maybe that's what the standard was. And in that case, I agree with you 100%, because too many times this season, I have seen them. Who's the kid, the running back that everybody is so thrilled about, and then he disappeared for the last 9 games?
Jalen Wright.
Thank you. The reason I don't know him, I haven't seen him. I can't remember him. He went off for like 8 yards a carry on 3 carries. I don't even know if he's on the team anymore.
Disappeared.
So, yesterday it might have been a backhanded compliment from Ross to say, hey, way to go, kid. You stuck to the game plan. I'm not going to put too much into that. I think it's great when a player gets a game ball because they busted their asses out there. We talked a little bit about Zach Sealer. I hadn't thought about the all-pro angle that you mentioned, Steve, but I agree with you all the way. That dude should be an all-pro. He does something positive every single game. The only time he hasn't, he got poked in the eye and he missed a couple games. That's it.
Yeah, he's back, man, and he's got that visor, and he's just like unleashed him. He's incredible. Even when he's not making plays, he's freeing it up for other people to make plays. Like, he freed up Calais Campbell to go on that stunt and force the throw that Caterco, who ended up intercepting. 100%.
Shari, any last thoughts about the 49ers game before we go to the next segment?
I was happy to see Jonnu Smith step up again. My sister was at breakfast the other day and apparently ran into his uncle and got to have a little conversation about that and texted us, and his uncle was texting him, and she told him to let Jonnu know that we're thankful he's been carrying the team on his shoulders for a while. So
hell of a season for him.
Record breaking season.
Absolutely.
For sure.
So I'm very happy to see a tight end thrive in this offense.
Can
right
I
now.
interject
Please?
real quick? Randy McMichael, 4th round pick out of Georgia. I can tell you the very first person to ever score a touchdown in that stadium ever was Farrell Edmonds, tight end out of Maryland in a preseason game. Keith Jackson out of Oklahoma.
Love Keith Jackson.
Now name another tight end for the Dolphins.
Ed Green.
Well, you mean like not get sexy? I mean Gesicki.
That was a wide receiver playing out of position. Name another. In your fandom, name another tight end. I'll give you 5 minutes to do it.
Clyde Gates.
Eric Green.
Who?
Eric Green.
Okay, number 89. Next.
Clyde Gates.
My point is being made. That's my point.
I agree. 100%.
It was so...
Michael Agnew.
It was so cool to hear them
Julian
say
Hill?
that he set a record.
No.
It was so cool to hear him say
Really?
he set a record, and at the same time, it was embarrassing. Like,
Yes.
you
What
got
about
a
Bruce
guy
Hardy?
on the other team that's probably a candidate for the Hall of Fame when he retires.
Oh, Kittle?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the Dolphins, who when
So
you
fast.
think of them, you think of their passing game through history. Unbelievable. I hope he gets the third part with the touchdowns.
He will.
That's an exciting feature to this team.
Absolutely. It's been fun to watch.
We were told that you were going to implement the tight end on the third season. They certainly did a record-breaking season for Giannis. Well, despite Mr. Positive, Mr. Perfect Man Armstrong feeling happy, joy for Christmas. Lots of Dolphins fans are not feeling so happy about the Christmas season of the Dolphins because of one Mr. Grier. Let's go to the feature segment.
Well, Tua, coming off last week, that frustrating loss, and then knowing that maybe the playoff hopes were a little slim, what about the effort that this team came out with and played today, keeping you mathematically in it right now?
I mean, if you look at the way we were playing, I think you could tell that we had fun. We had fun with each other. We had fun playing for each other, for one another. And I think you could see that in all three phases. And I think that was the difference with us tonight versus all the other times we've been playing.
This offense certainly had fun. You had your 100th touchdown pass to Tyreek. Not sure if you knew that, did you?
No, I didn't know that. That's dope.
Well, congratulations on that. And then, of course, Achane with 100 yards, over 100 yards rushing, 191. What can you say about this offense, and how can you use that going into next week in Cleveland?
Well, I would say that's sort of what we wanted to do coming into this game, was establishing the run game, make sure we got that going before we opened up the playbook with our passing. And I think we did that well, and you got to see that, and just very proud of the team. The defense gave us opportunities, and we were able to put some points on the board.
Yeah, let's take a look. Well, it started Thursday night when the Chargers got that huge win over the Broncos. The Chargers all but in now in the 6th spot. And the Broncos, you could see sitting there right now, the 7th and final spot. Good position, nearly 90% chance. If the Broncos can just win one of their final 2 games, the whole wild card race is over. The Broncos are in. But if Denver loses against Cincy and then Kansas City week 18 finishes 9-8, it's open to these other teams. You see Miami now about to go 7-8. All of these teams in that scenario would need to win out, would need some help.
The Dolphins defeated the 49ers 29-17. The Niners are eliminated from playoff contention. Dolphins fans paid for a plane to fly over the stadium, telling GM Stephen Ross to fire GM Chris Grier. Mr. Ross, this is Grier's fault. Please fix it. So I guess that's the new thing, to hire planes to fly over the stadium with a say, because the Giants did that. It only works if you have an open-air stadium. If your team sucks and you got a dome, ain't nobody gonna see that. Can't nobody see that. What you think, Ocho?
We had an off season. and I'm saying we because I'm from Miami. For those of you in the chat, they're going to say, oh, you play for the Bengals. I'm from Miami. I'm from Liberty City, from Dade County. I was born at Jacksonville Memorial Hospital, January 9th, 1968 at 3:08 a.m. Okay? So I have a love for my Dolphins. Been watching them since the Mark brothers, since Dan Marino. Tua went down. Tua going down with a concussion and missing 4 or 5 games. I don't remember exactly how many it was. It threw everything off. It threw the rhythm of the team, the offense, the chemistry. It threw everything off. So, this season, it went to shit. It went to shit. Now, if we can get to, when Tua comes back next year, as he's finding his rhythm once again at the team, next year I think we'll be fine. If we
Well, despite some positive notes over here, a lot of Miami Dolphins fans are feeling left like Christmas was stolen for them after another disappointing season under general manager Chris Grier. His questionable personnel decisions and roster construction had led to constant underperformance, leaving fans wondering if he'll learn from his mistakes, or is it time for Grier to be replaced? The lack of consistent success raises concerns about his ability to build a winning team, leaving many fans and disillusioned. Steve, I did some dressing up for Christmas. There you go. So,
Look at you.
yeah,
I love it.
let's try some breeze. Despite Chris Breeze, let's be so cheerful. This season I didn't have a lot of expectations. For me, if you ask me, they're all on it. They did a quick reset. They restructured some contracts. They passed some work, and they didn't have huge expectations. I didn't think they went on in this season. And for the start of the season, my expectation was 9-8, 10-7, and basically that's close what we were getting is to play on the season. But still, having said that, if the Dolphins could have a better backup quarterback and probably a better offensive line, the Dolphins will be in the middle of the playoff hunts. But it's basically on Russ for not doing that. So what are your thoughts about Mr. Grier stolen Christmas from Dolphins fans?
Well, you hit the nail on the head right there with those 2 points. If we had a better backup quarterback and a better offensive line, maybe we wouldn't be in this situation. And this is just a part of it because anybody's quarterback can go down, but that is the GM's responsibility. The GM shouldn't be really taking any time off of evaluating the talent that's out there, saying, hey, these are the contracts that are going to be coming up. Oh, my God, hey, we're likely going to need a backup quarterback. Even if we don't have a backup quarterback hole, we should still be looking to see what else is out there. Hell, the 49ers had just spent the 3rd overall pick in the draft on Trey Lance and said at the last pick of the draft, well, I guess we'll try for this Brock Purdy guy and see what he can do. That's the only reason that John Lynch still has a GM job there is because he lucked into Mr. Insignificant or whatever the hell that name is for the last pick of the draft.
Irrelevant.
But irrelevant, thank you. And then the offensive line, which for 2 off seasons in a row or 2 end of the off season right before the regular season press conferences, Grier has laughed smugly and said, hey, you guys are more worried about this than we are. Just don't worry about it. But as fans, and I'm not going to speak for the entire world of fans because there's certain levels of fandom where some people are just like, hey, I'm a fan, and they show up even if they go to games or something like that. They're there for the experience, and then they just go home, win, lose, draw, whatever, doesn't matter to them. But for those that eat, breathe, sleep, and live football, they have expectations, they have hopes, they have standards for what they would hope that their team would be able to achieve. You're talking about a GM who had an embarrassment of riches for 2 drafts in a row. Granted, Mr. Ross, the Grinch's dad, screwed that with, tampering with Tom Brady and Sean Payton. But he still had an embarrassment of draft picks to go out there and use. And in hindsight, 2020, Monday morning quarterbacking at its finest here is saying, hey, you traded, messed around with draft picks. Yeah, we still got Jalen Waddle, but God, Jamar Chase was still on the board. You don't know, but hey, that number 1 wide receiver in the league right now in terms of performance. The guy is over 1,500 yards this season. you don't know what's going to happen. Analysis in a vacuum is that player comes to Miami and performs exactly the same way that he does here. You can't say that's the case, but that is on Chris Grier for making that choice. Chris Grier for bringing in Tua when a coach was here and not putting your thumb on top of that coach and saying, hey, you're not going to break him down to the point where he almost decides that football just isn't what he's supposed to be doing in life anymore. That's on him. He hired that coach. He fired that coach. He's now got a coach here who, frankly, sometimes seems like he's more interested in seeing, how he looks on the sidelines rather than what it looks on the other side of the sidelines between them. So, look, there's 32 GMs in the world right now. A couple of them are interim, okay? But there's really 32 GM positions in the world. I can't do it better than him. I can't even do my day-to-day job better than some of the people at my job, and that's why I acknowledge that, and I work to make myself better every day. You just really wonder what the hell is Chris Grier doing right now, because what he has done has really stolen several years' worth of Christmases and what should have been an outstanding outcome of a rebuild, where now some of us fans, not Matt, are looking at, hey, we're on the downslope of that rebuild, and it's time to start looking at the next one. Matt?
Yeah, I'm not the guy to sit here and say whether somebody should be fired or retained. I remember going off on a rant. I don't know, it might have been before the season. I'm not in that building, and I don't know what decisions are made. I can tell you that there are a couple decisions that I don't agree with, and the first one is the backup quarterback position. The second one is the fact that the offensive line, you've got Teron Armstead, who's a warrior, but is he the guy to protect your very fragile quarterback? Are those reasons to go and cut somebody? I don't know, but I'm going to tell you right now that I think it's hilarious that somebody spent the money to hire an airplane to fly a banner saying, please fire Chris Grier. It's funny to me because that guy's got money apparently that he can blow on something so stupid. And I am saying it's stupid. It's moronic is what it is.
Just took the word out of my mouth.
How simple do you have to be to sit there and say, and listen, I'm not talking about week 16. They were doing it after week 1 when we had a lackluster win against the Jaguars. There were fire Grier calls after the Jaguars game. And I wonder, Steve, you mentioned a moment ago about people being, they're just fans. They want results. I get it. You want results. And if you're a long-term fan like you and I are, you absolutely want results. Newsflash, I'm old enough to remember the Dolphins winning a Super Bowl. Winning, not playing, winning. I was 5 years old. That was the team I chose. That's how I became a Dolphins fan. So now you know just how far back my fandom runs. And I'm going to tell you, this fan also pounded the table and demanded there be a coaching change after the Dolphins lost to the Bills back in '96. Because I'm so friggin' smart and I know what I'm talking about. And the move to Jimmy Johnson is one of the worst moves this franchise ever made. And yeah,
and it broke my heart.
I said it, and I'll say it again. It's one of the worst moves this franchise ever made. So I get it that people, I want something done. Somebody's got to, their head has to roll. Before you do that, before you get on your horse and say he's got to go, make sure that you take stock of every other real or de facto GM in the NFL. That includes Bill Belichick. He of the 6 rings, who was his GM during the entire 20-year run in New England? A quarterback covers up a lot of zits, right?
Oh, yeah.
So make sure that you go and you look at their track record. Look at how they did with drafting, trading up, trading down. I get pissed off when we trade down for a guy I've never heard of because I'm so friggin' smart. I know everything. And you know what? You don't know anything either. I'm not talking to anybody in this panel. I'm talking to people in general. You don't know either. It's a crapshoot. Let me tell you something. I'm so smart at this sport. I went on to the Hard Rock gambling deal. My first day of doing it, I won $58.
Woo!
I know everything.
Spike that football.
And now you're going to quit.
$100 deposit, I turned into $158. Woo! Got my money back. I totally forgot about it for 2 weeks. And this weekend, yesterday, I went and made some parlay bets. Guess how much I have in my bank account now?
24.
I got $58. I have the 58 I won. I'm so smart. I know everything. I missed winning $800 by 4 yards. Thank Bijan Robinson. Thank you so much. It's a crapshoot. It's luck. It's Tua putting his head down and getting smoked in game 2 of a game we were going to lose anyways, right? It's such a crapshoot. But people, fire him. Hey, whatever you do, when you get back in there, fire him. I want him out of here. We lost. Oh, wait, we just beat the Jaguars, but we didn't look very good at it. Get rid of Grier. That dude put everybody on the field. The same field that we were cheering for yesterday, that guy put those players on the field. And if the dogs are barking because of me, I'm sorry, but I'm not quite done with my rant. It is unconscionable to sit here and say he's got to go. I'm not his boss. And if that dude walked into my office and said, you got to go, we'd be fighting. Like, we'd be fighting for real. Like, if I have a weapon in my pocket, it's coming out, man, because I'm not going out like that. If you want to get rid of Chris Grier, I get it. I get it. You're pissed off. Tua's out for 4 games. Chad Johnson said it perfectly on that little clip. Although Chad Johnson's got the money to have a better Christmas tree than he was showing in that clip. But he said it perfectly. Lost your QB for 4 games. What's the difference? Is this team 7-8? Or is this team a lot better with him playing those 4 games? We'll never know. But is that Grier's fault? Is it Grier's? It is?
Yes.
Why?
Because why don't we have a backup quarterback that can come in and play
One thing.
Play at all.
That's one.
That's a big thing. That's a big thing, though.
I agree. I said it 10 minutes ago when I started this rant. I'm not happy that they didn't have a backup. I'm not happy that the backup they had, for some reason, they believed he was the guy. And then when he went in there, he looked like me. He was awful. I get that.
I'm the boss of a business. And I'm the boss of a business for 8 years, and we're supposed to hit a certain mark every year. We have a goal, and this is our goal as a business, not as a football team and winning, but as a team, as a business. And out of those 8 years, half the time I do, half the time I don't. When I do, we still don't hit the bonus mark because we go out in the wild card round. So the 3 times we really hit the mark, but I'm the boss. So who has to take somebody has to take responsibility for that. And I can't say, well, my best salesperson was sick for 4 weeks, because I should have a team of salespeople that can step up, fill in the gaps, and make those marks. Why don't we have a backup network that can step in and fill those holes?
So I know a little bit about what you do, and I'm going to flip that on to me because it's more what I do for a living. If the same scenario for me existed, then the owners have the right to come to me and say, you're out of here, right? Who am I to say whether Chris Grier deserves to keep his job or not?
Well, you don't get to say
You're a
that.
fan.
We're just asking your opinion. You don't get
You're
to
a
actually
fan.
do it.
I'm a fan is correct, but it makes no difference. It makes zero difference at all. People get so fired up about whether Chris Grier should keep his job. Forget Chris Grier. Pick any one of the knuckleheads from the 2000s and the teens there. Any one of those guys.
You're firing. Mike Tannenbaum.
Tannenbaum,
yes.
the football czar, right? I was on that boat to get rid of Tannenbaum because I didn't like him. That was it. I just didn't like the guy.
The boat with Ross and Brady, that boat?
Mm-hmm. He was the fluffer.
Oh my God. Okay, so real fast before we switch off.
Go for it, Shari. No, I want you to do it. Go.
My husband knows me. He knows that if I am pissed off at Tua because he played like absolute bat shittery and I just knocked my camera off.
Okay, it looks like you just fell over backwards off the table.
My camera. I was banging on the counter and I knocked over my camera.
She hits the table when she talks and she's feeling it. So let's have it.
I will not go on Blue Sky because I stay off X now. I don't go on that crap hole. I will not go on Blue Sky and say Tua should lose his job. I'm so mad at Tua. I don't go on. I can be Julian Hill. I could think he's the worst tight end in the absolute world, but I'm not going to go on social media because that is a person. It's a human being. I don't need to go online and trash that person because it's not my job. That is not what this segment is about, though. This segment is asking our opinion of should Grier keep his job. Yes, none of us can say he should absolutely be fired or he shouldn't, but we are giving an opinion as to backing up our argument as to why, if Ross were to fire him, maybe that's a better way to put it. If Ross were to fire him, would you agree or disagree? And I think then it would be a different answer because you would say Ross is his boss and he has that right because he works for Ross. So if Ross were to fire him based on his track record up until now, would you back that decision, Matt?
I think that this is the honest answer, even though I just went on a rant. My honest answer would be that let's move on because you made a decision and you're not coming back from that. You made the decision, but I would want to know what was the final straw because I'm going to stand at the top of the hill and say that at the beginning of this episode, we were talking about players that Grier found. Right? I mean, you can't deny that. And some of those players are from this year. Some of them are from previous years. I would want to know what was the final straw for him. Would I support it? Yeah, I would. But I'd still want to know.
Okay, so on that point, Matt, very, very good points there. You want to know what is the final straw, which frankly you'll never get because there's so much of the stuff that actually happens behind the scenes. But yeah, he's responsible for the players, but he's also responsible for the coaches. He is the one that hires the coaches. Yeah, Ross, Garfinkel, Marino, Grier, they all interview these head coach candidates, but he's the one that's hiring the coaches who is, frankly, the philosophy, the execution, the discipline, or a lot of lack thereof isn't Grier's responsibility, but it is his responsibility to bring in somebody that's going to do that. And frankly, hey, it's worked wonders part of the time, but he went out there with a mission of what seems like a mission to find a coach that was going to accentuate the positives with a quarterback, and he built around that. So transition here real quick. First of all, Shannon Sharp, I don't know what freaking rock you've been under, but Miami's been flying banners for years. I mean, I don't remember all the different names on banners, but we've heard lots of different stuff. But the simple arrogance and ignorance of somebody to say, "Hey, I've got the disposable income. Screw the hungry during the holidays. Screw the dogs out there that could use adoption services or something like that. I'm going to fly a banner over a stadium and think that Stephen Ross gives a shit about whether or not I'm flying a banner that speaks my disdain for your GM. The guy has got a packed stadium. He's worth $10 billion, if not 12, 13, $14 billion. He doesn't give a damn about what your banner says.
I got to talk to him face-to-face one day and tell him what I thought of him. You think he left there giving a crap? He didn't give a crap, but I felt better.
He went and hopped in his nice big chopper and flew out of there. But so Matt, to your point, you'd want to know what is the final straw. I would want to know, what is your plan? What's your next step? Because I'm just as guilty of this in different phases of life. The grass is always greener. And somebody always told me this once. I've said it so many times. So many people think that the grass is greener, but really it's just a lighter shade of brown. and they don't know what they're getting until the Oakland Raiders at the time, who are now the Las Vegas Raiders, when they went out there and got that shiny rock out there called Mike Mayock, and look what he did to that organization. Everybody was like, oh my God, this guy's a genius. He's on TV. He says all these fantastic things. The guy shat the bed and got sent out of town as quickly as he got brought in. So I would want to know sure, it'd be great to know. What was the straw that broke the back? Because you've had enough, a lot of years to build up. You don't want quick turnover, but what was it? But I would want to know, what's the plan?
Yeah. So Mike Mayock's a name that I haven't thought of since he probably got fired, but you're right. And everybody, the people on the sidebar here, as well as you, me, Shari, and Sammy, we look forward to hearing what Mayock had to say during the draft. 3 days of draft. So this guy, this is what you're getting. And you took it as gospel. You took it as this guy knows what he's talking about. And then the same thing applies to the media. And you see these hit pieces every once in a while. Not every once in a while. I'm saying I see them every once in a while because I don't subscribe to the Herald anymore. And I can only imagine what Jackson and that other moron have been saying. But they throw stuff out there and the fans eat it up as gospel. And then you get Mayock getting put in a position with the Raiders, and he gets run over. He's a complete, absolute, abject failure, right?
A lot of people sound very, very brilliant when they've got a producer in their ear feeding information to them.
Yes, you and I believe.
Shari says that all the time.
You and I are more on the same page than you could possibly know. It's just for me personally as a fan. Yeah, I do sit there in the Julian Hill thing. Hey, Kosa, Jonah Hill is the better tight end. Yeah.
He made a nice tackle this Sunday.
There are times when I sit there and think, why is he in the game? Like, why is he in the game? Has he shown something in practices that makes them, we're going to give him another chance? This isn't a guy that's pulling down $19 million a year. This is a guy that's a bad snap away from pushing shopping carts at Walmart or selling insurance. And I'm going to illustrate one last thing. Everything you just said about Mike Mayock, Louis Riddick.
Yep. Thank you.
Louis Riddick. I could listen to that guy talk football all day long. I could watch him nuke people on social media all day long. But until it gets real, Mike Mayock, you'll never know. And then are you bitching about the same thing 4 years from now? 2 years from now? I don't know. I just want my team to win. I just want them to pull off the next three, have some good luck come their way. And I don't care if we sneak into the playoffs. Sammy talked about it a couple weeks ago. Back in the 90s, they got into the playoffs like the worst way possible. It was the most anticlimactic way that they could possibly get into the playoffs, and they did it. And I think that was the year that I think the Bills beat them 44-34, and it was Shula's last game.
Monday night?
What's that?
No, the last game of the season, yeah, I think it was. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. Anyways, I've been on a rant today. I appreciate you guys letting me roll.
Oh. Sammy, bring us home, buddy.
Well, since I can do it myself because, I'm in a loss for words after all of that. And, Chris Grier has been, he's been like such a fumble. I think it's better someone else said it in some form.
You're a bad boy, Mr. Grier. The drafts are quite a miss. You're a clueless as the manager. You've been horrible with the fans, Mr. Grier. You're an absolute failure as a GM. The fans are not happy. Fumble, Mr. Grier. Your trades are constant miss. Your roster full of holes, and your owner is just oblivious, Mr. Grier.
Oh my God, that's priceless.
Christmas without you. I'll be so blue just thinking about you. Decorations of red on a green Christmas tree. Same dear, if you're not here with me.
Well, it's a Monday, so there's no injury report, there's no weather report, there's no rankings report. There's nothing. I'm gonna play that song over there. The song jumping. That's a finale for that song again. So we'll play it at the end of the show again.
Boris Karloff narrated The Grinch That Stole Christmas.
Yes.
And if you don't know who he is, Google him. His deep voice, it's one of the things he's famous for.
Mm-hmm.
But that version sounded awfully familiar to me. I'm not quite sure who was narrating that.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Well, the Dolphins with a 4% chance to make it the playoffs, go to Cleveland. It was supposed to be a Sunday night game, and now it's a 1 p.m. start.
4:05.
4 or 5. Oh, great.
I think it's a 4 o'clock game.
Thanks, Grier.
It's kind of a chilly kind of game, but not so cold. I have no idea the weather. It's to be determined the weather. But if that's a cold game, the last 2 games of the season are cold games for the Dolphins. They find a way to not put the Dolphins in September to bring teams to Miami to play in the heat, but we have to go to the cold the last 2 games of the season. That's just great. So, Steve, I want to start you. I don't want to know your thoughts about the game against the Cleveland Browns on Sunday with the 4% chance to make it the playoffs.
I don't think the playoffs are on their mind. I think they're just going to go up there and try to put together an on-the-road product that's different than what they put up the last 2 times on the road. And that's setting the bar really low. But you're going up against an offense, and I know you don't have the side-by-side stats here, but they're on their third or fourth quarterback. They got Dorian Thompson-Robinson, DTR, or whatever they call him. Yeah. He's actually questionable to even play. I think he was dinged up, and they said that he may not be able to play, something with his knee. Yeah, I know, sad. Their running back, Chubb, he's out, so they're relying on Ford. Look, they looked decent against the Bengals, but to be honest, every team going against the Bengals defense this year has looked pretty damn stellar. So I don't think that's a great sample size. Their defense is legit, and Myles Garrett, would he just log his 100th sack? I want to say, God, it seems like it's been forever. I don't know how long he's been in the league, but really carry forward what you did here. McDaniel doesn't need to go out there and say, hey, okay, guys, we got a whole new implementation we're going to put. Push it, man. Push it forward. Carry forward what you did. I don't see any reason why they shouldn't be able to go up there and put a competitive product on the field. Chances are Cleveland, cold. It's Cleveland. Shout out to Antoine Staley, who consistently says it's very, very underrated city, but it's Cleveland still. So on that point, Bearded, yes, I find myself saying that all the time, too, that Shari is correct. And I want Shari's opinion right now. How about Cleveland Browns versus the Miami Dolphins?
My opinion on the Cleveland Browns right now is I'm going to forget that it's going to be cold, and so should everyone else, because after I saw, Phillips for the Bills this past weekend in basically a fur coat under a jersey acting cold because it was cold. I don't want to hear that our team looks cold. Our coach is shivering because he looks – it's freaking cold. It's okay to be cold. Just play a better game. So it's ridiculous. Don't act like it's 100 degrees outside. It's cold. Play the game. Build upon the things that you have done this past week. Learn from the mistakes. I swear to God, if Tyreek isn't in that building 24/7 for the next week, then I know you can't bench your $32 million man, but I have no tolerance for the Randy Moss attitude. You play every snap, you play every game, you put in 100% or simply walk away. So the Browns, sorry, I went off on a tangent because I'm so aggravated with just everybody coming at us for one thing or another. The Dolphins can't do cold. Okay, cool. So just play the game. Go up there. We're looking at a team that's got, 3 wins? So yes, on paper we should win, and no, on paper we shouldn't, because we can't win in cold weather. We can't win when we travel on the road. We can't win in XYZ. We have a 4% chance. So you're saying there's a chance. I don't want to hear any more talk about draft picks in my house for a couple of weeks. So we need to go and
Amen.
take care of business. Matt?
Jesus.
51 degrees, light rain. That's what it's going to be like. So, I don't know. Whatever. I'm not allowed to talk anymore around here.
Matt, what's your thought?
33-19 Miami.
I'm sorry, repeat that?
33-19 Miami.
I'll take it.
That sounds
That's a stout defense, right? So, I mean, I'll take 33 all day.
So while we're on predictions, last week, one person on this podcast said that the team would be driving down the field with an opportunity to take the lead and would be a turnover, correct? Cater Kohu, mic drop, Matt.
No, it wasn't it. What did the announcer call him? Not Kohu.
Kohau.
Kohau. Yeah, I don't even know. He said it multiple times.
It was like it was Kohu. Like,
Yeah.
like
you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Somebody should have corrected him in his ear.
There's always somebody here. You know, Steve, you said something about Shannon Sharp earlier, and it speaks to something I've ranted about for 2 years now. Those personalities aren't down here. They don't know. You're right. The banners have always flown over. Whatever the message was, there's always been banners over there, over that stadium. And then to hear Jim Nantz, Kohu with the interception. It's Cater Kohu, man. Do your pre-production work, please.
One of the most iconic voices in sports, and probably has a team of producers.
Yeah.
Bigger than my family in this house. And mispronouncing names, man. Do better, Jim Nantz. Do better.
Or we sick bearded fanatic on you, man.
Absolutely. Let's move this along. Hopefully the Dolphins win, and we can have another week of talking about how Dolphins have a 6% chance to make it playoffs.
Close out 2024 with a bang, man.
Absolutely. Let's go to play let's play some Secret Santa. Well, I gotta fix this, but let's go to this first. Well, we're gonna play some Secret Santa. Basically, what we're gonna do is we're gonna spin the wheel, and wherever it falls, we have to, that's our Secret Santa. We have to give us a gift to the person for Christmas. The person who is standing us.
You're gonna have to read that to me. So Matt, you go ahead. Matt's first, man. Let's do it. Big money. No whammies. No whammies. Best game show ever, by the way.
OCD is kicking.
I agree. Press
your luck.
Press Your Luck is the greatest game show of all time.
Ever. Second to Bamboozled, which never made it live.
That's
Friends fans.
That's a Friends reference right there.
Yes, sir.
Here we go.
Bamboozled.
Let's start the wheel. Let me go over here and let's be good.
No whammies. Big bucks. I think that'd be great if you had a whammy go dancing across the screen.
Next year. Matt. What's your gift for Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa, Matt?
I think of the Wizard of Oz. If a new brain.
Ooh,
damn!
Wow, for Mr. Pussy, that's kind of rough, man.
Damn.
What is that, man? Why a new brain? I want to elaborate on that, please.
The one he's got has been taken out, kicked around, battered. Not only that, but I'd like to see him make some better decisions. I'm not talking about his passing game. I'm talking about his game. Like, you can throw the ball away in the NFL if you are smart enough and not so balls to the wall. You can throw the ball away and live to fight another day. And I've been saying this for years. Just throw the friggin' ball away, man. You don't have to. You don't have to sit back there and take those hits. You don't have to sit. You're not a running quarterback. Despite all of the vitriol from earlier tonight, this team is in the playoffs today. If he doesn't get hurt, I stand by that, and it's his own fault. So, a new brain that is healthy and brand new, and one that also thinks a little bit better when it comes to throwing it away or deciding to run.
Oh, let's spin it again. Let's spin it again and see what happens. If it falls on the same person, I'm gonna spin it again. So,
all right, Sherry, here we go. Sherry.
Oh boy, I see a couple names on there that I don't want to give anything to. So
I know who she's gonna get here. I know
I
it.
do too. I do too. I'm like
It's gonna be
squeezing
Josh
my
Allen.
arm, like.
Yep.
Josh Allen.
No, don't do it to me. I swear to God, I don't. Oh.
It's Grier. So Sherry, that was close.
Here we go. Here we go.
So,
I would
Sherry,
like
what's
to
your
Chris
gift for Chris
Grier a nice cushy job back with the New England Patriots.
Wow.
A one-way ticket out the door, but a very well-paying job. I'm not wishing the man ill will, just not will with my team.
They do have a franchise quarterback.
Hey, bye-bye.
Hey,
That's
speaking of franchise quarterback, how'd that basketball game go last Tuesday night? I can't remember that 22-point loss to the Florida Gators game yet.
Yeah, you certainly didn't lose by 22.
Yes, they did.
No, they didn't.
Uh-oh. I see another battle.
We need to do a watch along for that kind of game.
Yeah, we'll have to.
You can go ahead and Google that, big
We'll
boy.
talk offline.
You talk offline. All right, spin the wheel for Steve.
Spin the wheel. Here we go. Big bucks, big bucks. No whammies, no whammies. I'm getting a whammy here. I know it.
You are.
This is rigged, isn't it? Who do we got, man? Who do we got? No. Oh my God!
Perfect. So, what's your gift for this quarterback and Mr. Knows Everything, Aaron Rodgers, Steve?
My wish for him is the courage. I'll go with Matt's Wizard of Oz theme here. The courage to come back for another 2 more years to try to prove everybody wrong when we know that he's not going to.
That's reverse psychology if I ever heard it, man.
Hopefully.
There you
That
go.
sounds painful for the rest of us, though.
Sounds painful for that team, not a team up in New Jersey.
Viagra. Bearded. Viagra for him and his new girlfriend. I don't know. Unless he's going to some dark cave and we don't ever have to see him again, that's not something I want to think about. So.
Yeah, I don't want the guy to die, but if he was in the cave and he got sealed in there and
Right?
like a food source, but the media couldn't get to him ever, that would be ideal.
That was going to be my wish for him, my Christmas gift.
And Bearded, we know that he wouldn't touch a pharmaceutical. He would go for something like deer antler or something like that.
Sammy,
He
go
could
ahead,
have been a Dolphin player.
Dodge that bullet.
I've never been so thankful to miss that in my life.
Absolutely.
He would have been run out of town, before his contract. So.
Sammy, spin it for yourself.
Lucky for him, so he's not the main Dolphin. So. Okay, let's go. And... Tyreek Hill.
He needs the opposite of Viagra.
A vasectomy for Tyreek Hill would be nice. Not Viagra, vasectomy for Tyreek Hill will be very, very nice. Tyreek, please do something about that. So let's go straight to the big finish. Well, I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Hanukkah. It's a season for peace and joy. Hopefully, everybody has a great week with all the loved ones. Our friend Eddie Chapman and his dad, hopefully they're doing fine. Bearded, Jason Sarney, all the friends, my house, Jake Mendel, everybody else. Adrian, we'll talk about Adrian pretty soon next the next segment.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you to all. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. take care of each other. It's been a great year. Please like and subscribe on all platforms on Facebook and on X and YouTube and Twitter. I'm sorry, on Instagram.
Blue
We're
Sky.
all platforms.
Are we on Blue Sky? We need to be.
Yes,
We're
we
on
are.
Blue Sky.
Yeah, we are.
Very good.
Yeah, hopefully I can dub that on Stephen. He will take over the Blue Sky account because you want to do it, Shari, because I don't have time for that.
I'm sorry. I think my camera's falling off again.
Without that, let's go to the Least We Power Rankings. Lots of movement in the power rankings. We told you Patrick Mahomes was okay, so you didn't believe us. Number 5, the Packers. Number 5, the Lions. Back in the top 5. Number 5. And number 4, the Bills. Were close one. The Patriots number 3. And number 2, the Vikings. They keep winning. Somehow they keep winning. And number 1, the Refs. I mean the Chiefs. Still. I would say that Patrick Mahomes, all that crap about his ankle and everything, we know he's going to play. So
tell you, that NFC North is something else, man. They are pumping out the wins this year.
Absolutely. Well, hopefully Peter is over there because he's going to be doing a victory lap for a while now. After a glitch on the Matrix made our friend, the A-Train, Adrian Rainey, miss his picks for the huge part of Sunday's game. So let's go to the Pick League rankings. Well, we have a couple of moves in the top 10. Sammy Nixon, number 10. Bobby Finstock, number 9. And number 8, Sean Celebrity Show. And number 7, Shari Harris. Number 6, Good from Dave. And number 5, Steve. Number 4, the A-Train. Now at number 4, the Vinci number 3. And number 2, Jason Cerny. And number 1, Peter Fernandez.
I really feel for Adrian there, man. But conspiracy theory wise, I'm really curious, Bearded. How much was that ring worth it that you sent Adrian money?
That's what I said.
Come on, man.
When that happened, I felt like Vince McMahon in that episode when Mike Tyson was on the ring and Stone Cold Steve Austin jump in and you ruined it. I was like, you ruined it. Man, Adrian, how can you let that go? Well, I'm not pulling for anything, but I want to make it competitive. I wanted to go down to the wire. So, better if you're over there.
Second and number 2.
Yeah, Jason's trying our friend number 2. Beard is here. Beard, hopefully you won't get tired. You have 2 more weeks to go. So hopefully that victory lap is not too long for the next 2 weeks because it's basically all wrap up. And myself says, Steve, by the way, you can, you're gonna have to do that yourself.
Wear it on your pinky.
Maybe a nice chain, and you can put it on.
Oh, I like it. It should be on a turning display case.
I have some input here.
Please go ahead.
There's such a wrestling thing. Why don't you make it a wrestling championship belt?
Well, if it's next year, every for the entry, everybody pitch in, maybe we can do
that. I say that because next year I would like to get it because I'm going to win it next year.
Oh,
so
the gauntlet.
If we have enough people pitching in, I have a company that can do that. Basically, the same people that make the ring can do beautiful championship for the winner. So maybe we can do that. Who knows?
Good idea, Matt.
Yeah, that would look good on Matt. Maybe a Jeopardy championship also for the winner of Jeopardy. So that would be nice. Well,
you have to be brave enough to come on to play that, though.
Yeah, I was thinking of putting kaput on that, so we'll see what happens. We'll see next year. Wait, what is thanks for watching? Thank you guys, Mr. Perfect Armstrong, Sherry. Thank you so much, my brother Steve. Thank you for put up with me every single week.
Dude, I love this, man. I love you guys
and carrying this show every single week. I appreciate it. Let's go back with let's wrap it up again with that horrible song about the English. Let's do it again. And what do we say with Miami? You're talking Super Bowl.
Fins up, everybody.
Fins up, y'all.
Holidays. Feliz Navidad.
Feliz Navidad.
You're a bad boy. You're a penalty.
Choices make us right. You're just ignorant about talent. And we can't help it. That's why, Mr. Grier.
I love this slide. You put the slide in there a couple times.
The slide. Of course, it has to be slide.
And I vote. Just playing sucks.
He got some junk in his trunk too.
Is that something that you can, like, how did you get the rims to look like him, or vice versa? Is that an app, Sammy, or?
Yeah.
Thanks for watching Fins TV. Please like and subscribe. See you next week. Fins up.